What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be taking a look at my Final Cut Pro timeline for the video that you just watched. So before we dive into things, I just want to say that I've never done anything like this before, so please bear with me. If this video sucks, I'm sorry, but I know a lot of you guys wanted to see this, so I'm going to try my best to break this down as best as possible. And yeah, we're just gonna get into it, I guess. So the video we're going to be breaking down here today is actually the main video of a huge batch of content that I delivered over to the client, Frank Clegg. I was approached by this brand and I was given 2 days up in Kennebunkport, Maine to create as many photos and videos as I possibly could. And the main aesthetic and like the main vibe that we were trying to give off was just very laid back, very natural, very relaxing. And the client wanted sound design. Like that's literally what he said to me. He was like, listen, I want natural sounds, I want woodsy sounds, I want birds chirping, I want sound design. And I said, okay, if you want sound design, I'll give you sound design. So that is what we're breaking down here today, is like the sound design of this video. But like I said, this is not the only video that I delivered to the client. There's actually 7 or 8 other videos that I delivered as well. So I will actually leave a couple more of those videos at the end of this video for you guys to watch as well, because yeah, like I said, it was just a big batch of content that we had to deliver. And quickly, I just want to shout out my buddy, Evan Cabral. If you guys don't know Evan, he's been in a couple of my videos here on the channel. He's one of my best buds. And yeah, I hired him to come out and shoot all the photos that we shot on this trip, and he absolutely killed it. So huge thank you, bro. I really appreciate you. We're doing this today. And yeah, if you guys aren't subscribed to Evan, make sure to go check out his channel. I will leave links in the description below. And yeah, go show him some love. Okay, so we're gonna dive right into things here. I'm gonna put my headphones on and let me set up my screen recording and make sure everything is good to go. The first thing that I'm gonna do is select all of these clips, all the sound effects, and turn them all off. So if I play the video, there's no sound. And a quick disclaimer, I know the video is a little bit choppy and a little laggy, and I apologize for that. I'm editing on a 2016 MacBook Pro that's kind of beat up, and it's not the best spec'd out machine that there is, but I'm just trying to wait. I'm trying to be patient to get that M1 chip very soon. So sorry for that. The first thing that I wanted to do was add a main like undertone, since I didn't want to use music for these videos because I had to create so many videos, and all of the videos were all different lengths. Like some videos were 10 seconds long, some are 15, some are 20 to 30 seconds, and the main piece was a minute long. I really didn't want to use actual like songs because it would have been a nightmare for me to find 6 to 7 different songs that all go with the same vibe, and to be able to cut them all down into, you know, those very specific time frames just would have been a nightmare for me. So I opted to go with just like atmospheric undertone type things to really try to set the mood, set the vibe, and I think it came out great. So the first tone that we added here is actually from a lens distortions pack. This video is not sponsored by them, don't worry, but their packs are phenomenal. I own, I think, 3 of their sound packs, and yeah, I definitely recommend them. Super good. So as we can see here, this is the first undertone, and it doesn't fit the entire video, like the length of the video. But I'm gonna let it play out a little bit for you to hear it. I wanted something that was gonna be very mellow, very tranquil, and just relaxing, right? That was the whole kind of goal for this shoot, was just relaxing. And we want the viewers to picture themselves in this situation. So we've got a nice tranquil undertone. And like I said, it doesn't stretch the entire length of the timeline. So I had to kind of improvise here and add 2 other tones to kind of tie together and make it the length of the video. So as this tone fades out, I came in here and I added another short tone, again from Lens Distortions. So if I play it from here, so fortunately, I was lucky enough that this tone, kind of the first tone right here, kind of fades out as we transition into the last scene of the video, which is, you know, Brad, the model, packing his bags and getting ready to leave. And this last tone that I added in kind of just ties in really nicely. It's a very similar tone to the first tone. I'm saying tone so much, and I apologize, but like, what else are they? They're tones, right? So when you're combining tones like this, you need to make sure that they're pretty similar, but not drastically different, right? Because you don't want to add in another sound that is like on the other end of the spectrum, because the viewer is going to be like, the viewer is going to hear where the difference is. You don't want the viewer to pick up on differences, especially when it comes to sounds. You want the sounds to flow as naturally as possible, so that way they don't even notice it happened. So after I added in that tone right there, we're gonna come over into the beginning of the video, and I don't have another tone in the beginning of the video because we have this really dope car scene of this nice BMW SUV kind of flying into frame here. So what I did for this was just added a bunch of hits, whooshes, and car sounds, like engine sounds, roaring, things like that. And I think that it really came together quite nicely for faking the entire thing. So the first sound that I want to introduce here, let me mute these two since we're not using them, is a riser. So I really like using risers because it kind of builds anticipation and energy. So as you can see with this one, that riser's just kind of building the hype, and I have it end right as the scene cuts as he pulls up to the house. So along with that riser, we have a BMW sound effect, another BMW sound effect, another BMW sound effect, and all of these sound effects for the cars, and actually like a majority of these sound effects I got off Artlist. If you guys aren't familiar, Artlist now offers SFX packs. If you guys have a yearly subscription to Artlist, you can then add the SFX option for a very small additional price, but their sound effects are great and I really recommend them. If you guys are interested, I do have a link down in the description below. I have been using Artlist for 3 or 4 years now. I love all of their music, and I can honestly say that I now love all of their sound effects. And if you sign up through the link down below, you'll get 2 additional months for free. So if you want to support me a little bit, go sign up for Artlist, use my link down below, and download some sick music and sick sounds, and then go create sick stuff. So once we added in these BMW sounds along with the riser, this little whoosh, a subtle hit, another whoosh, some wind, and that's about it for that section that I want to show. We get this. So that sounds pretty good, but to me, it wasn't good enough. We have to emphasize that, you know, we are outside. So since it is an outdoor scene, I did want to add in some nature sounds. So I brought in some, you know, woodsy outdoor sounds along with some wind. And then just to kind of turn up the heat a little bit more, I added in a couple hard whooshes here in the beginning with a couple of hits and a couple of sub hits too. If you don't know what a sub hit is, it's basically just like a bass hit very low undertone. It just kind of adds like dimension to the sounds. So this is now what we have here. So all of this sounds really good, but we got to keep building off of, you know, that base that we just laid down. And since we're transitioning here from driving to actually pulling up to the house, I kind of wanted to make a statement here. So I added in this like high-pitched hit. It's not really high-pitched, it's more of like a high tone. Here I am again using the word tone, but I add this tone in. That just kind of grabs your attention like, hey, we're here, we made it. If I bring back in the long undertone that kind of is the whole, you know, support of the entire video, along with the intro sounds and a couple other small sounds that I'm going to add in here, like some small footsteps, a low whoosh, and then whatever that is, and whatever this is. This is what we get for the intro now once it all ties together. So as you can see, it's coming together quite nicely. And if we move into this section right here, this is basically all just footsteps and sounds of like fabric moving to mimic his clothes, kind of doing this as he walks. And like the bag sounds, like the buckles on the bags, things like that. So here are just some footstep sounds that I ripped, pretty sure off Artlist. Another little riser. I really like using risers and hits and sub hits to really, you know, make a statement with the video and to catch attention. I think that's a really good way to catch attention and also to transition from scene to scene to help kind of move the storyline along. So if we add these sounds in here, this is what we get. Pick it up from here. So now that we're moving from outside to inside, we have a little cutaway shot of a nice birdhouse. I dropped down the sounds of those birds that you could hear because we're inside. You can't really hear the birds much. Even though we're on like this screened in porch area, I still kept them in very, very like low in the decibel level. Just so that way there, if you're listening close enough, you can hear it. But we bring in some more footsteps here now on carpet because we're inside. I'm also adding in some handbag movement because Brad is picking up the bag off the chair and he's kind of bringing it over to himself and picking up or pulling out the notebook, I should say, and sitting down to the chair all at the same time. So if we turn on this layer of sounds to kind of show that. So we got the coffee cup going down, the bag movement, and him pulling the notebook out. Now under here I did add in another woodsy sound. Again, I kept the decimals. Again, I kept the decibels pretty low, and I added another under hit right around this area to kind of emphasize that the scene's changed and we are now inside. We have another undertone right here that I'm going to bring in just to kind of tie everything in. And over here is just a couple of whooshes and soft hits. So once we bring those sounds into play, this is what we get. And that is pretty much that for the middle portion of the video. Here we are starting to transition from indoor to outdoor. So in order to do this, I'm just gonna bring these sounds in. I forgot to add these in, I'm sorry. Just basically like movement type sounds of him grabbing the pen, putting the bag down, things like that. But to help transition to the next portion of the video, I'm bringing in yet again another riser and another hit. And the hit that I'm using here is called Glass Shard. And the reason why I'm using this one is because the visual on screen is the bell on the bicycle. And I think it just fits perfectly. So here's what we have. now it transitions back to outside, and as you can see, with just the undertone, this is what it sounds like. All of these sounds, again, I had to add in post because, the scratch audio from my camera just wasn't cutting it. So I'm gonna bring in another outdoorsy, woodsy sound effect here, but it's a different sound effect than the outdoor effect that I used in the beginning of the video. And the reason why I'm doing this is because the scenes change through the video, right? We transition from him showing up, pulling up. We transition to him inside, relaxing. And then we transition to him back outside. So we're showing that time is passing through the video, and the sounds outdoors are gonna change, just as well as time is changing. So if the entire video was shot in, one scene outdoors, you could easily get away with using the same sound for the entire video. But again, since we're changing up scenes, you need to change up the sounds as well. So we're back outside, we're adding in this woodsy sound, and then we're bringing in some footsteps, I believe. Oh, no, these are actually bird sounds. So we're bringing in a couple of bird sounds just to get, that outdoor vibe going. A little whoosh, a little under hit, because like I told you guys, under hits and undertones just kind of add dimension to the videos. And this is what we're working with now. So as you can hear, the nature sounds are sounding pretty good. Not too drastic, not too over the top. But we gotta go back in, we gotta add the footsteps. So now there's two people walking in the scene, so we gotta make sure that the footsteps line up on both. I tried to time it as best as I could, and I think it came out pretty well. Again, with footsteps, you wanna keep them low enough so they're not too overpowering, but high enough so you can hear them. That's about that. So now let me just bring in some of these sounds. Again, just more whooshes, a couple of hits, one more undertone down here, and all of this stuff, which is the bicycle parts that I added in these sounds of him kicking up the kickstand with a couple of like metal sound effects, some footsteps, and some stomping sounds. So this is what that sounded like. And I just brought in a bicycle passing sound and a bike riding sound. So that is pretty much all that. If I come back up here into the middle section and bring in some more wind, a couple of whooshes, one more hit, and a little riser, it's gonna help us transition into the final scene of the video. And here in the final scene, as you can see, yet again, we gotta build the sounds for everything. So we're gonna come up here and add in a hit to emphasize the scene change. Hits and risers go together like peanut butter and jelly, man. And then if you add an undertone or an under hit or sub hit right after that initial hit, so here I'm gonna bring in this under hit along with the riser. Let me just show you guys. Let me turn everything else off for a second. It just sounds so good. So we got the riser here, the hit and the under hit. And if you bring all three of those elements together, it just adds so much dimension, and it sounds great. So we're gonna turn on all these existing sounds, and the rest is just movement sounds of fabric, clothing, and I'm just trying to time it with his movements of him putting the things into the bag. And yeah, this is kind of what we got here. So we got a little sound effect here, a little whoosh, and an under whoosh. And that's what we got there. I brought in one more undertone to kind of, like I said, carry out through the end of the video. So if we bring that in, and we also bring in the sounds of the zippers, a couple more whooshes, and a couple more footsteps, this is what the final scene looks like. So that's pretty much how I sound designed this entire project, from start to finish. I hope that you guys had a pretty easy enough time following along, and I hope this video wasn't too messy, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Once again, I've never done anything like this, so I apologize if it was, but yeah, I think that gives you a pretty good understanding of everything that went into this. This was many, many hours of work to go into this one 55-second video. And yeah, I will leave the rest of the videos that I shot from this batch of content for Frank Clegg here at the end of this video. So if you want to see the rest of them, stick around to the end. But that's gonna wrap it up for me tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button down below. It really helps me, it helps the channel grow. And if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, because we're gonna be making videos like this more often in the future. We got a lot of cool content coming your way, so I want you to stick around, stay with me, chill, let's vibe out together, and let's learn filmmaking, like let's grow together. So hit the subscribe button, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.